Welcome to Common Sense Rhode Island. This is a program where we try to make sense out of the policies that affect your life and come up with common sense solutions. Welcome. I'm Representative Patricia Morgan, and I have with me today John Loughlin, former state representative from Little Compton.
I represented all of Little Compton, the southern half of Tiverton, and part of Portsmouth.
Okay.
So it's kind of an eclectic district.
All right, and you are also an Army...
Retired twice, actually. I'm probably the only person you're going to ever meet who failed at retirement. The first time I retired was in 2004 when I got elected to the General Assembly. And then I was called out of retirement in 2011 for a tour in Iraq and retired for the second time in 2012. So we're hoping that one is going to stick.
Well, I think you probably were really good at what you did, so
well,
maybe the Army could benefit from it. But, so you're retired Army, right?
Correct.
And now you are a talk host?
I do.
On talk radio?
There are 3 or 4 listeners out there who actually listen to the John Loughlin show. That makes 4. We're on Saturdays on WPRO from 11 to 2. We've just expanded into a 3rd hour. As if radio wasn't annoying enough, we're now at 3 hours.
All right. And what I brought you today to talk to us about is you are also work for the National Federation of Independent Business.
Correct.
Which is the NFIB. They are actually a great partner for me up at the State House, trying to get more pro-business, pro-jobs legislation passed in the General Assembly. But I know that you go out there and you talk to small businessmen every day. I do. I spend, and that's the most gratifying part of my job, is I spend the bulk of my time meeting with businesses across the state every day. And you after a while, you begin to develop some commonality. Oftentimes in Rhode Island, because of the overwhelming majority of Democrats that we have, it's for the lobbyists for NFIB, it's like Fort Apache. It's like try and stop the worst of the worst and hope that the business community doesn't get harmed too much. But that they don't eventually kill it off,
right,
because they're doing a real good job of it. That's my opinion. But we are again 50th.
Correct.
Right? The most recent ranking by a reputable rating.
I believe it was CNBC.
Well, maybe not so reputable, but but 50th again.
Right.
And we've never gotten better, I think, than 47th. So we've just been stumbling and bumbling along the bottom.
Well, I mean, the reason for that, there are some things that are structural. One of the structural drivers that continues to hamper us in terms of our business environment is the cost of energy.
Sure.
Energy costs in New England are off the charts, and we've done nothing to correct that. In fact, we've done the opposite.
Yeah, we've made it more
when
expensive.
Deepwater Wind finally comes online, electric utility rates are going to go up even more, and so you're going to find that we'll become less competitive in that. Another structural driver is the property tax.
Can we just pause at that? Electricity, a lot of, it's hurting families too. It hurts residences, it hurts businesses, and yet you're right. You mentioned it glibly, Deepwater Wind. That's going to add $500 million to our electric bills, right?
Correct. Absolutely correct.
And we have done things like distributive energy. We've been really aggressive in green energy jobs. Everybody likes green energy. Everybody does. But it's 3 to 4 times more expensive.
Right. One of the things, and this was before you showed up in the building, when I was there, we did the decoupling. In the past, the way you sold electricity was if you sold less of it, you made less money. And so to incentivize the electric companies, they decoupled the amount they could charge from the amount of electricity that they sold. So therefore, if they encourage people to save, they just charge them more for the same electricity or for less electricity, and thereby they don't diminish their profits at all. And I fought that one vehemently on the House floor, but it still obviously got through.
Yeah, yes it did. But so electricity really is a big one. I talked with a small manufacturer the other day, and he was just saying, how do we keep our doors open? Because the electricity rates, the same as for you folks in your homes, they've been going up for them. What is it, 24% one year, was 18% another year. That's a huge amount of money. We feel it in our electric bills, but companies, restaurants, all of them use much more energy than we do.
Right.
And it's hard. I know that they keep saying the natural gas pipeline is constricted. We only have one big one that comes in. But they've been saying that now for 20 years. You think anybody would actually have a strategy on doubling that capacity?
Well, the problem that they run into is it conflicts with one of their major constituencies, the environmentalists. And the environmentalists want us to all live in caves and burn candles.
Well, they don't want us to burn candles
no,
because,
that's right.
Right, I think they just want us to live in the dark.
cave, right.
Yeah. But, okay, but it does hurt. It hurts companies. And, you know, we as Republicans, we always get banged away, oh, you're there for big business. I'm not there for just business, but businesses create jobs.
Correct.
Right? And if we make it so hostile for companies and businesses, they can't grow jobs.
Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult for a company to rationally consider relocating to Rhode Island unless the state, through its largesse, dumps tons of tax incentives on it. And ultimately, the problem with those tax incentives, when you give huge tax incentives to a company like GE, it's not like the state says, oh, you know what, we'll do without the $50 million in tax incentives we're giving you. No, they just take that and they spread it out amongst all the small businesses.
Sure.
So the small businesses end up paying for the big businesses that are coming into town.
Yeah, or for their solar panels on the roof.
Right.
I mean, the taxpayers are paying for that stuff. That is one of the Commerce Rhode Island programs, is to outfit companies with solar energy on their, well, but the ratepayers are paying for that in extra, and then the taxpayers are actually putting it on their roofs. So
Right.
why don't we just lower the cost of energy?
Yeah, see, that's a huge and I consider that to be more structural than legislative. Obviously, there are things that the General Assembly could do to drive down the cost of energy. But that
But we
one is...
do the opposite.
But we do the opposite, and that one tends to be more structural. Property taxes is another big one.
Yes.
Property taxes for business owners are off the charts. If you think it's bad for your house, and it is, it's worse for that business that's down the street, because oftentimes they bifurcate the rate. So there's a commercial tax rate and a residential tax rate, and the commercial tax rate is where they're absolutely getting killed.
It's almost always 150%
Right.
of the residential rate. Sometimes it's higher, and then there's also the tangible.
I hear more complaints about the
Do you
tangible
want to talk about the
The way the
tangible?
tangible tax works, basically, is if you own a business, what happens is the tax assessor comes in, if you use a desk in that business, and a computer, and a toaster, and a pencil sharpener, the tax assessor every year makes you pay taxes just for having those items used in your business. I talked to it was in Johnston, it was a meat company, they make custom sausage, that sort of thing. And she said that she doesn't want to add another case, another refrigerated case, because she has to pay tangible tax. And she said the tangible tax she's paying on the case that she has, she said over the 30 years that she's owned that case, she could have bought 3 of them for the amount of money that she had to pay the town of Johnston. So it's an onerous tax. It's just another way of municipalities looking at business owners as an ATM machine.
Yeah, and, you know, when we look at Providence, they have the 3rd highest commercial tax rate in the country. Not in Rhode
And
Island.
yet they
in
think
the
they're going to grow some
country.
sort of an economy in Providence.
Yeah,
How?
how can you get jobs in when businesses are looking at
Right.
that? Okay, I'm glad you agree with me. And we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back.